Let's take it.
Oh man,
We're live. There it
there it
is.
is. We're live. We're live.
We are live. That's right. It's been a couple of weeks. Not much has changed except
Mm-hmm. Not much
Dennison's in
has
a gang now.
changed.
Dennison's in a gang. Um, that's actually that's actually the only change. Everything else has been the exact same, which has been really good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what did you say the name of the gang was?
Oh, it's new hair gang.
Oh, New Hair Gang.
Yeah,
All
man.
right. An unexpected title, to say the least.
I
But
know it's a little strange, but
I know for real.
it's exclusive.
Um, it is no, and I respect it. Um, I have been on this hairstyle. We're closing on 3 years now. But yeah, I don't know.
Well,
If it ain't
maybe
broke,
it's
don't.
time.
Well, maybe,
Maybe it's
but
time to
maybe if it.
join the gang, man.
Oh, the gang. Yeah. The new hair gang. Right. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, man.
I was like, dang, I'm being recruited again. Um, yeah. No, to me, it's kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I also ended up with roughly the same hairstyle for like 12 years when I said that last time. So I almost feel like something should change.
I mean,
you
hey,
know,
it's the signature John Smith look right now.
right now, yeah, everybody's doing it. Yeah, they're going. Everybody's wanting the John Smith. I get it. Um,
Exactly. Trendsetter.
my grandmother actually roasts me every time she sees it. She's like, "Stop shaving your head." I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it looks pretty clean. This is from stress right here. That little divot right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's from all kinds of stress. Um, so anyway, we're back. We're back. We're glad to be alive. Obviously, it's Thanksgiving week, and we know that a lot of you are probably going to get pretty busy here pretty
Mm-hmm.
quick. And actually, it's going to be a busy week for both of us in our own lives, unrelated to Thanksgiving. Even
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Yeah, I am looking forward to it. I am not looking forward to the lack of sleep I'll be getting because of it. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. Should we wait for the recording, man? For the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
reveal?
We can wait for the I mean, I don't know. I guess uh our listeners won't be able to actually see the transformation, but
No, it's okay. It could
uh
be fun. It could be
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
We draw
Oh
more
yeah,
people
you're
over.
right.
Draw more people over to the live stream. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're all about. We're all about this live stream. It's a podcast at this point.
Exactly.
Um, okay. I'm gonna start recording here.
Okay. Let's do it.
Oh man. Okay. Let's see. We got people on the live stream now. Look, we haven't
Mm-hmm.
done this for a little while. If you want to get involved on the discussion, yeah, you're gonna want to jump in on the comments section. We will. You can interact
Mm-hmm.
with us in real time as we discuss this stuff. Of course, before we get going here, we're going to discuss what is under that cap on Dennison's head.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we're also going to talk about Apple. I believe it's next year, right? They're going to roll out replacement parts for iPhones.
Yes. We don't have a specific timeline, but they have announced it. I think they're launching. Actually, I think it's relatively recent or soon. Where
Yeah,
they're going to launch their self-service portal.
yeah, right. Which is dope. So, um, that's a huge change and one that really a lot of the smartphone industry has been lacking for quite some time. So
Mm-hmm.
very cool opportunity there. Um, and I'm excited about it. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more, including what we're thankful for on this Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm thankful for Dennison's goatee and and his pile of laundry in the background. Um,
Hey, it's a blanket. It's a blanket.
oh, whoops, my bad. um,
Yeah,
Look,
man.
I can't even.
It's a
Let's be
dope
honest with it.
blanket. It's a nice
It's
blanket
cool.
right there.
That is cool. Let's be honest with ourselves. I tried. However, you can still see that if I lean this way. There's a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of crap there behind me. That's why I sit right here for the most part. Um, so yeah. Anyway, we got some good stuff. We're glad to be back doing this. So let's
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and jump into it. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I gotta know, man. What is up with the hat? Like, is it a hat? Is it a smock? I'm not even sure what it is.
Well, I think it's a reveal. It's a part of the reveal, man.
Okay,
Because for listeners who have been listeners, and I guess really at this point viewers who have been
right.
following us along or following along with us for you know years and stuff like that, you all will know that especially if you know me, you all know that I am very, very resistant to change. So,
The
uh, so
ultimate inconsistency is Dennis and Rice.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
It was what I think a year or two ago I started to kind of grow my hair out more and have a little bit of a styling change at that point, and this is just a part of that next evolutionary step, in
sure,
my
right.
hair growth. So, you know,
Yeah, we're all growing in some way. Yeah,
yeah,
and you
exactly.
with your hair. I respect that. Okay.
Exactly, exactly. I also said, hey, it's hard to grow hair on my face, so
Right. Right. I
um
agree. Hence why, yeah, it looks like that for me. Uh,
so, I thought, well, might as well just go ahead and, do it all on the top, so I'll be good to go.
heck yeah. Heck yeah. Okay.
So,
Well, it's a big moment right here.
yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. As a guy who, prior to this hairstyle, had the same one for roughly 12 years of his life, uh, I I can relate to your plight. And so, yeah, what's the big? Do I need a drum roll for this? I don't know.
No need for a drum roll, man. It's just a
Okay,
slow burn. That's all
all
it is.
right,
We're just
let's do
gonna
it.
go ahead and yank it out just like you yank off a band-aid. See?
Oh man, there!
And
Wow,
there we
wow,
go.
bro, wow, you look like, you know what? We just lost viewers over that. because it was so clean, they went to get themselves their own haircut, just like it.
Mhm.
That's why
Mhm.
they literally just
They
bolted
started
out the door.
scheduling their appointments right then and
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I know. Dang man, no, that looks good. Honestly,
Well,
yeah.
thank you.
Live
Thank
stream. I know if you're listening on the audio, you're like, what are we even talking about right now? This is why
Yeah.
we need to get you all over on the live stream, man. It's over on Facebook, facebook.com/the catch up cast. We're live right
Mhm.
now. People can chime in anytime, leave a comment as we record this live. And you can get a look at some of Denison's Travis Scott action he's got going right now. Man, you about to host Astro World, bro?
No, man. No, man. Travis Scott's got different I got a different hairstyle. It looks very similar, but it's different.
Right.
Travis Scott has got braids. I've got
Oh,
twists.
yeah,
It's different.
okay. Right, I get that. It's kind of like when you're making wings, like how you bread them is different, even if the sauce is the same, right? Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, it's almost the same. It's almost the same thing. Man,
Almost the
yeah.
same thing and not at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it looks fire. It really
No,
does.
thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm about it. I haven't I don't know if I could pull that off myself. Um, you
I
know,
wouldn't even try.
yeah, I know you're right. It'd be too good. You do look like you could play for the Lakers, I guess, which is cool. So that's what it is. I got you. You got some Anthony Davis action going.
Anthony Davis action, man.
Yeah, minus the unibrow. You haven't gotten that yet.
No,
Um,
no, I'm not really planning on the unibrow. So,
well, man, I gotta say, one of the things I'm thankful for is your new hairstyle. It's gonna liven up these live streams. um, man, but no, we got things we want to talk about that include the most thankful time of year, right? Which is
hmm
Thanksgiving. This is I know we kind of said this we got twisted around our schedule, long story short, but this is the actual week of Thanksgiving episode. And and yeah, we're excited to talk about some things that include Apple bringing back, or not bringing back, but actually creating a service where you can fix your own iPhone. That's right. You don't have to go to a back alley somewhere to get a new glass screen.
Exactly.
It's awesome. I
or
have a lot of questions.
Or you have to go to or go ahead.
No, I just have a lot of questions about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, same. It's got it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and it's a big deal for the industry. And so yeah, I can't wait to get into it because it's going to be really, really cool, and I think everybody's going to get a lot from it. I mean,
yeah,
it's making me think about stuff.
Well, hopefully it'll mean that this iPhone 11, for example, can last a little bit longer in future iterations, right? So
yeah,
definitely excited about that. And then yeah, like I said, it's the most thankful time of year. So we're gonna get in the holiday spirit. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I feel out of practice, to be honest.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's a lot. It feels weird.
Why?
Well, it's for me. I feel like it's like we haven't been doing this for a long time, but at the same time we have.
Right.
It sounds weird, but yeah, it feels like we're like I'm rusty and not rusty at the same time. Like I think we've done it so much that I understand everything, like the process and what we need to do, but it's just my brain's not fully there. I gotta get back into the groove.
I know. Yeah, it's like what even is happening right now. No, I get it. Well, let me check to make sure everything's going swell.
Oh yeah, we almost forgot because we got to, or at least I'll say I know that I did. I need to share this out to everybody. So
have you not done that yet?
Let everybody know.
I know that's part of the problem.
That's the thing. We can't let people know what's going on. Like people got to know. People got to know that
I know we got to make sure
live.
these people know.
So
you got it yet or no?
I got it shared, man. I got it shared. Nice. The people now know. The people now know what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Good. Okay, good. We want to make sure these people know what the going on. All right.
They got to know.
Cool. Here we go. All right. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? I'm John.
And I'm Dennison.
And this is the catch up. That was so stupid.
We got to get up close, man.
He's basically headbutt that thing. Yeah, that was awesome. All right, cool. Yeah, I feel like my brain's dead at this point, so I'm gonna just smack right into it.
Yeah, man, let's do it. We are ready.
Oh. All right, that's better. All right, 3, 2, 1. Before we get into our topics today, we haven't talked about much the past couple episodes, so we want to let you know the best ways to follow us. Again, we are live on Facebook right now, and as I was saying, you can jump in on the conversation in real time, leave a comment with anything that we're talking about, and your voice will be heard on the podcast. It will change to the direction of the conversation in real time as we record these episodes live. And you can watch them back and watch other video content that we have all in one place over on our YouTube channel. Just search the Catch Up Podcast with John and Dennison. And from there, you have our Instagram account. We have a bunch of unique video content on there as well. Facebook or Instagram.com/the Catch Up Cast. Our website is the best way to support us financially. There's a couple of ways to support us financially. Website's the best. And you just want to go to nosignalrocks.com, hit the drop down menu, and you'll see the Catch Up Podcast button. You can check it out, and you'll see all of our videos, all of our audio, and all of our merch all in one place. And that merch gets shipped right to your doorstep, which is super exciting. And then lastly, we have our email where you can reach out to us. It's theketchupcast@gmail.com. One more time, Justin. What's it called?
It's theketchupcast@gmail.com.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you for making sure they knew. So that is an option for you as well to reach out to us and talk to us about what you want to see in future episodes, what you thought was great about this episode and any other. And if you have any topic suggestions or even would like to discuss with us live on the show, please reach out to us there and leave us an email. The main thing I want to emphasize too, the absolute number one best way to support us is to leave us a rating and review. It will tell the algorithm that you like what you're listening to, and it will try to share it with more people because of that. So we'd love for you to do that and help us out, help us continue to grow. So yeah, man. With that said, let's go ahead and get into our topic. Apple will be offering replacement parts, and they're calling it a self-service, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of go through. First of all, the solution is great, but you know, it's pretty awesome, and I mean this in complete sarcasm. We're allowing you to fix your iPhone, but we're not doing it for you. You're gonna have to do that yourself, buddy. Otherwise, you're just getting a new phone.
Well, no. I mean, you can still this self-service program isn't going to get rid of their existing, turn it into Apple and they'll fix your iPhone for you program, which most of the time they just give you a new iPhone or a refurbished iPhone. Sorry.
Right, exactly. I have been there. Actually, can we talk about that real quick before we get into what this all means? So I think you might remember this. I had an iPhone 4S. It was my first iPhone, right? I was so excited. The Apple versus Android wars had just started between Dennison and I. Been raging for about 10 years now. And I had my first one was the best one for sure. It worked fine. It was great. I want to say that the quality control was a little less back then compared to what it is now. I don't know that for sure, but that is how it appeared. And so they called this like a nipple electrode, I think is what this was called. Okay. And
interesting.
Yeah. And it was the lock button. We have these lock buttons back on our phones now, but it used to be up top, if you remember that. And it would have an actual click that you would feel when you push it down, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a rubber nipple, literally. It looks just like this sitting on top there. And it can slide off of the contact. So it's basically what would transfer the two electric signals. And allow them to contact each other, right? So I have that phone for about 3 months. That slides off, stops working. So it may have been more than that, maybe in 6 months actually. And so I'm going downtown Dallas. We go by this Apple store. I didn't know it was I think it was an authorized reseller. But we go into this Apple store. And, I give them the idea, like, here's what's going on. And I need my phone fixed, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, you're still under warranty. So just in time, blah, blah, blah. Right. And so I go and I give them my phone. They're like, here's your new phone. It was not, in fact, a new phone. It was actually a refurbished phone. And to be honest, I can't even remember what messed up with it. I just remember it worked for about a month until it didn't. I was like, excuse me?
Wasn't it like the speaker was going out on or something like that?
Yeah, maybe it wasn't playing any audio or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It might not Actually, no. I remember what it was. It wouldn't
Hmm.
connect. I think the SIM card contact got broken. It wouldn't
Oh my
connect to any
gosh.
cellular data stuff. Um, and that was just a refurbed phone. So I didn't know that. I was very upset. I think by this point I had like 3 weeks left on my warranty, and so I took it
Mm-hmm.
to the other store again, and not the same one where I went to, but I took it to a
Yeah,
different one.
different one.
And I had to get a third iPhone 4S. That one it worked flawlessly. It still works. I actually still have it. I haven't used it for a while, but I used to use it to shoot video sometimes, like actually for
Mm-hmm.
some college projects. Um, but yeah, so man, it yes, sometimes if you weren't careful, you could go in and if you had the slight inconvenience on your phone and the warranty was still active, they go, okay, here's a new phone, and it wasn't. It was a warrant
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, resold, refurbished.
Yeah, see,
Crazy.
that is crazy. And
Yeah,
that's I've heard other people have like the same horror stories as that, where it's like, you just keep getting refurbished phone after refurbished phone. And no, there's nothing knocking a refurbished phone. It's just, when it's not done properly, um then it's not right. Like, and the thing is, and I guess that's the big thing, is like, I would think that most of the time when people say like warranty,
yeah,
you immediately think of, oh, I'm going to get a new phone if something's wrong with it, not a
right.
refurbished phone. So
Yeah,
that's a no bueno.
no,
um
a complete no bueno, to say the least. Um,
uh
what would you say? So, tell me about this program though. Like, how will this
yeah.
impact and change things?
Yeah, so yeah, Apple is launching their self-service program where people will have the opportunity to buy their own Apple or genuine Apple parts for their iPhones. Currently, they're going to start it off by just doing iPhone displays. So it's going to be displays, batteries, and I think that's it. I think those are the two that you can actually replace.
Wow.
That they'll give you the opportunity to replace. But the way that the wording is, and I'm going to make sure too, just so that way I'm not, giving false information. But
Right. Fake news out here.
yeah. But the way that the way that it's been like kind of talked about, it sounds like you'll actually have that they or sorry, the way that it sounds like currently is that they might actually open it up to other products like Macs and stuff like that. But right now it's just iPhones. And to be more specific, it's only the iPhone 12 and 13 models that you'll be able to change the display and the battery. Yeah, those are
Why
the
is
oh
that
yeah,
though?
displays, battery, and cameras.
Is there like it's camera? You can swap out the cameras too. Like if the glass is
Yeah,
broken on it, if the
yeah,
lenses. I mean, yeah.
yeah. You'll
So
be able
why
to
is
fix
it
that.
for those only? I mean, is it just based off of how they're built? Is that why?
It could be. It also could be like since those are the most recent models, I would imagine the thing is, for me, in my thought process on this, and this may just be me being more uh I don't know. I feel like maybe me being a little bit more negative, but I would imagine that they would do those two because those are the most recent models. I would imagine they're not going to push back the self service stuff to like older phones, like a iPhone 6
Sure.
or like an iPhone SE or um,
You'd have to cut it
an
off at some
iPhone
point.
11 or whatever like that. Yeah, I think they're cutting it off at a certain point, so they're going to do the most recent models, which is the 12 and the 13. Um, so I think that's the main thing, because that's the other thing,
Yeah.
right? If you as a user know that you can repair your phone indefinitely, which is great, I would imagine that you would hold on to your phone longer, which also can cut into their own sales. And now, of
Yeah.
course, you could be making some of that money back from the offering the self service stuff, but it's not always going to be the same. So it's not the same as buying a whole new phone
No,
and
definitely
getting
not.
those margins.
Well, I guess I thought they would have expanded it a little further to really I would thought the iPhone 10 just because the the 10 through the 13 not much has changed. you know,
Hmm.
as far as certain but I will say between all of those though, the things that are repairable that we're talking about here, battery, camera and screen, they've all been um changed for sure, but and upgraded a
Yep.
lot, so you can only have so much inventory. But by the same token though, it does provide a little bit of added incentive, I would feel like, to get people to want the new phones, right? Like, if
Yep.
I get a 12, so I'm completely content with my 11. There's been nothing about the new phones that made me want them, but
Hmm.
you could potentially keep those new ones longer, because the iOS updates are going to continue to last for probably 4 or 5 years, still be good for that phone. And if you can replace the screen, the camera, the battery, I mean, you're pretty much good with everything else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You're golden. So yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think it's a great move for Apple.
Sure.
There are speculations that Apple didn't make this decision just to be, nice. There's some rumors saying that Apple had been pressured via their stockholders, um,
Really?
on offering some sort of right to repair for individuals to be able to do that, because for years Apple has been incredibly stringent on how they want their iPhones to be, or iPhones, or really any Apple products to be repaired. Like, you have to have specific certifications. um, you have to be authorized and verified by them to be able to order Apple genuine parts.
Yeah.
It was a, and I think I read that to get that certification for your industry and to get all the tools and all the stuff like that that are required to be certified is, and it's a heavy investment, and you tend not to get as much of your money back as, or I should say, it takes a lot longer for you to get the money back from that certification
Sure.
than you would normally, if you
Sure.
were just a normal repair shop. So I think, um, so that's the reason why there's so much speculation saying that this has been, something from their shareholders, because I think it was one of their bigger shareholders filed a complaint, and let me see if I can find that specific complaint. But it's
Oh,
essentially, they
wow.
filed a complaint um, encouraging Apple to essentially um start like some sort of self-service, um
Yeah.
have some sort of self-service portal, or some way for Apple to allow individuals or independent repair.
Well, as you discuss this, or as you search for it, we know Apple doesn't really do, and not to come down to Apple, but they're well known for this in this sphere. Other companies do it too, but
Hmm.
they don't really do anything that doesn't make them money, that they don't see as a business benefit.
Hmm.
Um, and one thing that I was considering, again, as you look for this, what the shareholder had to say, my
Hmm.
thought was, what is it about these phones that they want to be the ones that are repairable? I would imagine that this is going to give them incentive, right? Um, to really push the boundaries with these next levels of phones, right?
Yeah.
So I say that from a couple of perspectives. I think that they can push the boundaries with these new phones. And if it doesn't work, people can still have, let's say they have 3 years of flops, right? You have the 12. Obviously, you don't want that, of course, but still have the 12, 13. and they can continue to last a long time because you can buy these repair products. In addition, if it works, you have people that are holding on to these phones and paying Apple for these products to repair them. But then they're like, oh man, but think of that cool new phone with that cool new feature, right? Maybe the phone folds in half now. Maybe it like can do your homework for you. I don't know, something crazy, but it has some feature that really drives people towards it. So they therefore have a foundation that they could build upon and try new things. Think outside the box. I'm completely speculating here. Obviously, I have no idea what Apple's thinking, but I was wondering your thoughts on that to see if that would be a good reason why they would do this. Because again, they're not going to do it if it's not going to benefit them financially.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think for Apple, it helps them because I think you're right. Right. It does kind of allow them, one, to be a little bit more. It probably allows them to be a little bit more of risk takers, right? Because they won't lose customers to any of the newer innovations or newer products that they want to launch or whatever like that, because customers can still stay with their current phones and they're getting revenue. It adds a new revenue stream, um, from individuals being able to repair their iPhones and stuff like that. And at the same time, right, they still have their normal repair services. So if you don't feel comfortable with repairing your own iPhone or being able to do that, you will be able to um, uh, go to, Apple. You can go to an Apple store or an authorized, I think they still will have this, but they're authorized repair shops,
Yeah,
and be able to get your phone done for you. So that's one thing. It's a new revenue stream that helps them out. And it does allow them to take more risks when it comes to newer designs, because you have individuals being able to stay on older hardware a little bit longer and you don't have to worry about like losing so much.
sure.
Two, I think another thing is it's great brand recognition, right? Because right to repair has become a growing movement, and I think we're finally starting to get to a point to where like things are starting to happen. Because what was it was a few months ago, Microsoft announced that they were going to do some sort of similar type of deal where they're going to allow some of their Surface devices to be a little bit more repairable. Um,
That's good.
they
Okay.
and Yeah, and so it's kind of started to become a part of that movement, and so it's really great for Apple to jump ahead a little bit. Um, and it's a great marketing thing, right? Because that's the thing. Think about it, right? If you as a Android user, right, or even you as a any sort of competitor to Apple, say, hey, I'm going to have my phone, I'm going to keep it for X amount of time or whatever like that, and boom, your screen breaks, and you can't get a genuine Samsung part or whatever like
Yeah,
that,
right.
if
Yeah,
you have a Samsung or whatever like that,
sure.
to repair it yourself. Well, but hey, that iPhone does.
Yeah,
So that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back for you, and you're like, well, I'll just go over to an iPhone, right? They already have long when it comes to like long software, um supporting really long,
yeah.
you
No, yeah. They
sorry.
have long-term support for it, right?
Yes, exactly. You get
Yeah,
5 years of updates, of iOS updates, which is still incredibly competitive to Androids, even where Google has started to open it up, and Google and Samsung have started it to where, if you have their latest phones, they'll support you for 5 years of security updates. And I think right now it's still currently somewhere around 3 years of actual Android versions, newer Android versions. But so they still have that kind of leg up Apple
Yeah.
does than
Mhm.
on Android. So that could be the thing that moves users over there, because they'd say, well, I can just buy me an iPhone 13, and whatever goes wrong, I can fix it myself. I don't have
Right.
to um, you know go to this back alley dealer and have them fix my phone.
Right. Yeah, the guy with
um
all the codes and the iPhone batteries inside.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So I think that's kind of one of the bigger things for it. It draws people in. It makes you think, well, hey, I could just buy me an iPhone. Yeah, it's going to be expensive to change over and all that other good stuff like that, but um I will have um I will actually have a phone that'll last me for, you know, at least 5 years, if not more,
Yeah.
depending on how long they're going to sell these parts. Because that's the other thing, right? We don't know exactly how expensive it is currently.
Yes.
Apple hasn't announced that. We don't know how expensive it is. We don't know um, how long they're going to have these parts out.
Mhm.
But it is something at least to acknowledge.
Well, not knowing what the prices will look like, let's assume that they're affordable, right?
Mhm,
So the shareholders are looking for this and everything too. So I would have to imagine that they would be affordable to an extent. My question is, let's look at the dark side of this. Does this give Apple more incentive to do increasing iOS updates that harm the old phones? And I say that from the perspective of, you know, I don't think it would benefit them with customer relations to do that. They've already admitted they do it, but nothing's really changed. I only
mm,
started having problems with my iPhone after I updated to iOS 15. You know,
mhm,
and that's as far as not being notified of phone calls, and then I'll look and it'll say missed call. It randomly put people on do not disturb.
mm,
Um, from my text messages, so I didn't know people were texting me, and it was weird. I don't know if this is tied to the iOS update or not, but for some reason, every contact I made since I'd started working at my former news station when I worked there in 2016,
mhm,
it saved to my work email, not on the phone. It saved to
mm,
Microsoft work email. I deleted that work email and I lost all those contacts, every
mm.
single one. Um,
Well, that's an iPhone thing.
it's an iPhone thing, I know, but I
Yeah.
didn't know if it was a glitch with the new iOS. I never had made that a proprietary option. I never made it the primary email, so I don't know why that happened. But um,
It's the way that iOS merges your contacts. It does it automatically. It's kind of annoying, but yeah, if you
yeah,
have an
it
email
is.
on your phone, and it understands that these emails can be linked to these contacts, then it will do that for you as an
Oh,
ease of access. But once you delete that email, then all of your contacts lose. You still have them technically, but you lose their names essentially. You lose
sure,
everything
yeah.
about them. So
Right. Which is awesome. But it does it does make you wonder because yeah, you can have um this phone that'll last forever until the iOS updates stop coming. It will still last, but this kind of harkens back to the time where you could get a flip phone and carry that same flip phone with you for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, without an issue,
mhm.
as long as it didn't get run over by a truck or something like that. But even then, oftentimes it would still work. So
Yeah.
um, it is cool. It makes me wonder how Apple will approach that from their business standpoint, which I want to ask. Do you think we'll get yearly iPhone upgrades anymore? Do you think we still will if you can just repair your old iPhone and keep it running longer?
Yeah. No, I think so.
Okay.
Because the thing is that you know not everyone is going to partake in that.
Yeah.
Um, and at the same time, not everyone wants to stay with the old phone, even if you can repair it and it does kind of lengthen the life of that phone. as well as the affordability of that phone, because of course you can always get your phone repaired, but sometimes it's kind of expensive to do. And hopefully this will be a newer affordable option. I think there's still going to be a bunch of users who still want to switch over yearly. And
Yeah.
so there's still that very high incentive of that. And then at the same time, you have to remember that each year that Apple comes out with a new iPhone is another year that they can have someone from, say, an Android platform move over to their ecosystem. The
Yeah, that's
iPhone
true.
is still the entry level for most Apple people, for them to get into all of Apple's products. So it would be more of a problem if they waited and released their iPhones like every 2 years, like you get a new model every 2 years or something like that. Um, so yeah, I think it's still, there's still a very high incentive for them to do that,
Right.
um, for business wise.
So overall, not much change in their business plan externally, like from what you would easily see expected. Although I will say I would be willing to bet that they push the limits more with their iPhones from here.
Mm,
Um, you know, maybe try things that are more niche oriented, and the
yeah.
people that don't want that and just want your regular old smartphone, can keep their 12 and 13. They have, especially the 13, anything you could ever need. The highest of quality for the screen, the camera can compete with the DSLR. Um, it's a great
Mm,
foundation to expand upon. Hey, look, I completely agree with what you. If you don't zoom it, it can kind of compete with the DSLR a little bit. Um,
mhm.
it has the capability in certain circumstances of doing that great of a job. So, it creates a great foundation. And yeah, I am interested. Did you find what that shareholder complaint was?
Um, Not exactly. It was
Okay.
essentially a complaint. It's what I was saying before, but it's essentially just a complaint talking, saying that they wanted um, some sort of way for individuals to repair their own devices.
Yeah, right. And and that's obviously what we're talking about here. And that's a good thing. Yeah, I don't know. What questions do you have that about this coming out of this announcement? Because it's a big deal. I mean, it's a really big deal. It's something that we have not been able to do before. And really to underscore it, the main thing is what you said, man, is that it's an opportunity for Apple to draw over Android users in a big way. In a big way.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, and I also think it's a really big thing for right to repair in general, because as we know, e- a lot of manufacturers usually will follow suit with Apple whenever they make changes. It may take a little bit longer, but they usually will um, follow suit. So it just kind of makes me wonder when other manufacturers, smartphone manufacturers, will follow suit, and how will they follow suit and stuff like that. Because you know, no one wants to be. Uh, no one wants to. I think a lot of manufacturers, at least my thought of it is that I think a lot of manufacturers thought that Apple would never do this type of move. Um, and now that they have, it makes those other manufacturers be like, oh crap, now we've got to do this because you have to be competitive, right? Because,
Yeah.
like I said before, it really does draw others. So my big question is to see who's next. Who's next to jump on this bandwagon, and kind of to see where we go from there. Because I think
Sure.
this opens up a ton for not just, because I want to really say that, this move is not just big for just iPhones or smartphones in general, but it can like gravitate out to a whole bunch of stuff, a whole
Yeah.
bunch of tech products, um, and making them repairable, making them easier for people to actually do that and hold on to their devices longer. Because I think that's the big thing too. It's like it lowers the amount of e-waste that is created
E-waste.
because
Yeah.
um, we're like, well, I don't want this phone anymore. Let me just throw it away or whatever like
Yeah.
that. Where this allows people to say like, well, I want this longer and I'm going to hold on to it longer.
Hmm.
Um, and they can recycle parts, and it is just a big help and a big change
Yeah.
from where we were before. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we need to kind of, in general, as a society, need to start doing. Like, I feel like we've learned how to recycle so many things, but electronics is one of those that we haven't fully gotten a full grasp of on like how we
Yeah.
need to do it. So I think this
No,
just gives more power to users to do that.
yeah, for the most part, we don't recycle this stuff, so the right to repair, is that a movement that I'm unaware of? Is that like a movement in the technology realm?
Yeah, it is. It
Okay.
is.
Where does that stem
Uh,
from? Does it stem from these type of things with mostly smartphones? Is that where it came from?
yeah, a lot of it started with smartphones and then it kind of branched out. Just because, smartphones are devices that we have on us all the time and repair
Sure.
on them can be really difficult, not just for the end user, but also for um, repair shops. Like I said before, Apple has been in the past and still kind of are very stringent on how their products are repaired
Yeah.
and what you in like who is actually authorized to repair their stuff. Now, there is something to be said that they're trying to keep the quality the same all the time, but uh, I feel like that's not fully true um, and fully honest. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. I would agree. I think that there is some under the table things that go on for them to benefit from it, although it does seem like it would be more financially beneficial to have always offered repair parts for their phones rather than just swapping you out a phone for a whole
Mhm.
year, right? I know their warranty
Yeah.
policies have changed a little bit, but yeah, this seems like a no-brainer for me, and I think it gives them the opportunity, should they choose, to pursue much more lofty goals with their phones, and maybe something we haven't even thought of yet, right? A new way
Mhm.
of communication, like telepathically, right? Something crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? And the Apple telepathy machine. Um, but no, I think we had a good discussion on this, man. This is a good one. I
Mhm.
want to switch topics real quick, being that it is the week of Thanksgiving. Just to kind of talk about some stuff real quick. It's been a long year. 2021 has been a year, and I think
Yes, it has.
it's anyone will agree with that. I think, you know better than anybody why I say that for myself.
Mhm.
But it's been this way for a lot of people, whether it's on an existential level or a global scale. The weight of pandemic still going on in politics and those kind of things, or just things in your own personal life.
Mhm.
It's been a year, but I've got the night before Thanksgiving show with Abandoned Kansas over at Wave. It'll be almost 2 years since I've been there. I can't wait for it, man. The night before Thanksgiving is supposedly the biggest party night of the year, so they say. Um,
News to me.
well, that's where I learned it, was the news, and so uh, that is, I've never experienced it. I've never actually gone out on that night, but I hope people choose to come over to the Wave in Wichita the night before. So if you are
Mhm.
in the area, definitely check that out. But I'm thankful to be able to do those things, even amidst the pandemic. Being in a position where I don't have to worry about catching this virus or what it could do to me. I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to do what I love, and that's play live music in front of people, right? Um, not from your bedroom on a live stream. And it's a way different interaction. It's something a lot of musicians had to do last year and even early part of this year. But really, I think about all of the things that have happened this year and give me different perspective on a lot of stuff. And I'm thankful for that creative ability. I'm thankful for the drive to pursue those creative abilities in ways that a lot of people can't, and so I don't take it for granted. I'm talking about as far as working on original music and playing live shows for my original band and both of the original bands I'm in. I'm thankful for my new job. Again, now I work at a local health clinic where basically I'm taking my journalism skills and using them in an internal business sort of sense. I'm doing external stuff too, but it's just been amazing to me how those skills are going to translate. And it's such a great opportunity with financially and personal life and benefits and all these things. And I'm just really grateful, for that. And, for my friends, for the people, friends and family around me that I truly, genuinely care about and love, and the feeling that is mutual. And except for that, because I've always known that, the other things, it took huge trials to get to some of those points. Even my health, I'm thankful for my health. I was on the job search for months. Very discouraging, especially while you're already in a high-paced, high intensity position. And all those things, not being able to perform, not being that is giving me a different perspective on all of that. But I'm saying this from a perspective of, the valley was long, very long. And I came out on the other side, and life is great, And I was just talking to Dennis, and a family member of mine passed away a couple days ago. And I ended up being asked and kind of volunteering with the best of intentions in a way that I was in at least half of the funeral I was involved in. And it was amazing to me to see how all the things that I've done and pursued, by the glory of God, have come together in one way that benefited me throughout that entire hour and a half service, right? And you pursue them for other reasons outside of funerals, but it benefits you in those moments. And so I guess my point is, the last abandoned Kansas show we played, I have a very interesting relationship with all those guys because we don't always hang out if we're not playing a show, but we all love each other and we love to hang out with each other, and Jeremy, our lead singer, who we've had on this show a couple times, he I said something that probably came off kind of dark into the mic, and it was just a joke, and it wasn't even intended to be dark, but it did sound that way. And he was like, "Oh my God." And he was like, "Will someone check on John? Is John okay?" Right? He's just joking. And I said, it's been a long year, man. But he knew that there was some truth in that joke. And he looked at me and off mic, he said to me, "But you made it through." And that was sincere and that was direct,
Mm-hmm.
and in a weird way, I felt like that was kind of a divine moment. Like God was speaking to me, like, hey, you made it through. And what's
Mm-hmm.
next is going to be so exciting, you know?
Yeah.
I'm about to get into a new place. I'm so excited for it. And so I'm bringing up these things I'm thankful for, um, because I think that it was a long, like, I'm talking like a year-long struggle, you know?
Yeah.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
9 to 10 months of struggling through one thing or another. If it was the job situation, or you know, uh, searching for a place to live, or even my own health, there was a lot, and so I just feel like I have extra things to be thankful for and be reminded in a way that I will never forget of who is behind all of this, and you know who is in control of it all. And so this is just
Mm-hmm.
a moment for me to give testimony, um, to God, who I get the opportunity to serve in the worship band on a weekly basis. So I just wanted to say that, that is what I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving. I don't think we got the chance to talk about that last year. So
I don't think so.
bringing, yeah, so bringing back an annual tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, man, what's on your heart this holiday
Um, yeah. So I
season?
guess for me, I guess for me, I'm right there with you. 2021 has been very long, and it's come with an immense amount of change and growth, and um, a little bit of sadness as well. Um, but I think one of the big things, kind of like what you mentioned, is I'm incredibly thankful that I've made it this far. Um, and that I've been blessed, um, to the degree that I have. I think, um, just starting at the top of the year, it was, me getting a new job, which was one of the biggest things, and also probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make, for myself, um, in my life. And it was such a big opportunity for me. And it's funny because as I was going through all of the interviews, and just kind of going through that job search and job interview process and all that other good stuff like that, I saw how much I had grown. It was a confidence booster, not just, or in general, it was a confidence booster. And it was something, it was funny because there was a moment I remember on one of my interviews that I had for a different company than where I currently work, where I was just, describing it out to the recruiter, because it was just like a phone interview or whatever like that, and describing everything that I did and stuff like that. And I saw just, at the very end of it, they were just like, "Wow, that's amazing." And, I'm surprised that you've done this much, and that you've worked so hard and all that stuff. And it was kind of like it felt like, it was God speaking to me and saying, like, see, this is what you've been doing. This is what I've been preparing you for. This is what I have been working on you with. And, I feel like a lot of times, especially in jobs, especially during the pandemic, when, you know, if you were, because I want to say that, it's a blessing that I had a job during the pandemic, because I know a lot of
Yeah,
people didn't have that opportunity. But um
yeah,
it's amazing how much, it's funny too, because I remember I was going into 2020 thinking, like, well, this is my growth year. This is my time where I'm going to move on to a different position. And I actually didn't get that opportunity, but it was still my growth year. It was still what, God had planned for me as a growth year. And I worked the hardest that I had ever worked.
Mhm.
And it was a long and hard process, but he had grown me to a point to where, at the very beginning of this year, it was one of those where it's like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. Like I know what I'm doing. I know how to articulate what I'm doing, and I know exactly what needs to be, done, said, all that stuff. And so I'm incredibly blessed and thankful for that opportunity, as well as just to show that, like, as you said, a lot of times we do things that we feel are mundane and not helpful, to like our overall growth, but it always has some sort of a purpose later on. You just kind of, yeah, it's easy to see that since we are present people, right? We're always in the present, we're never in the future. um
Yeah,
it's so easy for us to get caught up in what we're doing right now instead of actually seeing what is going to be farther down in the road, even when we think are able to see all the way down the road.
sure.
So that's kind of one of the biggest blessings that I've had this year is that. Um,
Yeah,
I would say another big blessing for me is, um, for me to, for me, it's been the people that I've been able to surround myself with and the opportunities that I've had. Um, One are, in my job. I'm incredibly thankful for the type of job that I have. It's the my coworkers there are incredibly encouraging and amazing people. I strive to be better every single day, just because they are amazing. They're amazing, and they are hardworking, and they are always there with a smile too. So that's always been it's a great environment, and it was something that I was scared of when I first started, but it was, I can't be any more thankful and any more blessed. But it's also, I'm also incredibly thankful for my girlfriend. I mean, we what few weeks ago it feels bad, but we had our 2-year anniversary, and it was an amazing experience for that. And we went to Hawaii, few weeks before then, um, for that anniversary, and we got to really just enjoy that whole experience. And it's something that I again will never forget, and I am incredibly blessed and incredibly thankful for. Um, and those are some of the biggest things. And I guess my last thing is also my family. Um, I feel like it's been a hard year for us. It's been a hard year in general, but I think um, it's I feel like I have an amazing family, who are incredibly supportive. I have an amazing, yeah, like I can't even just say that it's my parents, but it's also just it's my parents, it's my sister. They're incredibly supportive all the time, um,
mm,
and uh, they are always looking out for me, even when I don't think about, but even when I'm not even thinking about it, they're always looking out for me, and they
sure.
always want the best for me. So I am thankful and uh, amazed at um, who they are, and that I am blessed to be a part of my family. It's weird, but yeah, I'm thankful and blessed that I am a part of the family that I have. So I am
Yeah.
happy that I'm born into the family that I have. So, and very last, but certainly not least, um, I'm incredibly thankful for for this podcast. But truly, I mean, I'm very thankful for you, bro. Like, you've been there for me since we've been friends. Always. And I can't I can't be any less thankful for that, for your friendship, for who you are as a person, as well as your family too. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this year and last year has shown me just how blessed and amazing of a life that I have, even though it gets a little depressing sometimes. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I'm thankful for.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think the amazing thing about our friendship is that over the past decade that we've been best friends,
Mm-hmm.
we've rarely not been going through the same things at the same time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
bad or good,
Yeah.
obviously there are deviances with that, of course, but there is usually an overarching theme that has connected us every single time. I was thinking about that with a lot of family in town this past weekend for the funeral. How much I've grown in comparison to when I saw them last.
Mm-hmm.
And it really made me think about you and how we've been on the same trajectory for a decade. It's incredible, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that does
Mm-hmm.
not happen. It's incredible. And I'm very thankful for it as well. I just really want to echo all the things that you just said. I'm very thankful for our friendship, this ability to do this podcast because of it. But the friendship always comes first, and this is just an add bonus way to entertain people, try to create something different and unique and cool, a community, but also a way to keep in touch with you every week, from states
Mm-hmm.
apart. And what awesome opportunity that is. And I'm thankful for your family as well. They've always been great to me. They treat me like another son sometimes. And, well, all the time. I just mean when I'm down there,
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and so, yeah, it really is incredible. And I completely agree with everything that you said. And I think it kind of threw me off there a little bit, but I yeah, I just I think we have so many things going for us. Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. I think that if anyone is going through something, they should listen to this song by U2, and it's the little things that give you away, because the second half of that song is not really a chorus, it's just a bunch of different. I mean, it's beautiful, it's a beautiful melody, but the things that Bono says, it's from the Songs of Experience album, and before that
Mm.
they had the Songs of Innocence, and it was written from the perspective of his child,
Mm-hmm.
and how he felt going through things for the first time when he was younger. The Songs of Experience is a complete opposite of that. Once you've gone through things, and it's just such a relatable struggle and outcome. And what I got from it the first time I heard it 4 years ago was everybody goes through this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody goes through whatever it is. Um, and as long as you can know that and know that you're not alone, sometimes that's the biggest, most powerful thing
Yeah.
in and of itself that leads to all the other positive outcomes that comes from it. So anyway, that just had me thinking that based off what you said. we do have a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot of good that we're taking from the past year and a half that will continue to benefit us for the rest of our lives. And that's why I would encourage anybody else to do this Thanksgiving is be thankful for that. It was talked about at my church today, actually, about being grateful and how it impacts your mood, your demeanor, your relationships, your sleep, your health, by giving gratitude for things, because we all have things to be thankful for, even if we feel like we don't. So, for example, not to sound cheeky, but if you're listening to this podcast, that's something to be thankful for, because there's people that can't listen to this podcast, even if they wanted to, even if they knew about it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't there's people out there that don't have the capability, and you do, and that's something to be thankful for. So I'll leave it at that. This was a great discussion. I'm glad we did that. And
I
a
am
lot
as well.
Yeah, we covered a lot. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and review. That is the easiest way to help this podcast continue to grow on any platform that you listen to it on. And check out our website, nosignalrocks.com. There'll be a drop-down menu. Catch Up Podcast is on there. All of our episodes, all of our videos, and all of our merch and apparel are in one place. And that's how you can directly financially support the podcast. And of course, we'd be very thankful if you did. So, yeah, man. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
I think my only final thoughts are just to please enjoy the time that you have with your family if you have that opportunity during this Thanksgiving, and for our overseas listeners, because I know not everyone is celebrating Thanksgiving. I want to say, take this opportunity to also, even if you're not celebrating Thanksgiving where you are, take this opportunity to just think about, what you are thankful for, and truly, savor those moments, because I feel like it's our world is so busy and moving so fast that it's so hard to see that. So, yeah.
Yep. That's been the biggest thing. I was on a trip to California last week, and we didn't really get to talk about that, but that's why our scheduling was off, as I mentioned earlier. And the amount of things I processed in 1 week from just being away from everything else was astounding. And I feel like a whole new person. So, to Dennison's point, take some time for yourself and slow down. It'll be scary at first. It really will. The first day or two, you're going to feel like, what do I do? You may even feel lonely a little bit. You'll be overwhelmed by the simplicity, but give it some time, and it is well worth it. So, okay. Well, with that, have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Thank you for catching up with us, and we'll catch up with you next week.